I am so happy right now because Tyler, the Creator, released his new album, Don't Tap the Glass. It was pretty much a complete surprise. We had like a couple days notice. He also decided to release this album at like 6:30 a.m., which normally during that time, I would have already been up for an hour on my way to work on a train of doom and despair. I was still doing that very much, but it was a little bit of a happier time because I got to listen to one of my favorite artists' new music. So as a celebration of this album coming out, as I do with the many other albums, I'm gonna rank every song from this project and put it into a tier list. Starting with the intro track, Big Poe featuring Pharrell Williams. How this song starts is that robotic Tyler voice that we heard in some previews and snippets, and he's basically just telling the fans what to expect for this album, that it's going to be very fun, very hyper, fast-paced, very, dance-heavy music. And that's like, this album overall didn't have too much of a concept. It was a very loose overall project, but that robotic Tyler voice that we did see throughout the album a bit did kind of bring all of the songs together still, which I thought was nice. Besides that, the production on this song was an absolute highlight. Had a very vintage kind of 2000s feel to it, very like Timbaland and actually Pharrell inspired. Like a heavy usage of drums, a lot of electronic synths, and that's another thing I really appreciated. Tyler, obviously he's a great producer. That's something fans have come to expect from him as he's grown as an artist, and specifically one of his highlights in production is his synth work on Igor, on Flower Boy, really all his projects. That's something he does very well. And I really, really like how he took an already pre-existing strength for him and still was able to evolve it by going back to that old 2000 sound. And then the last thing I'd say for this song is that I love the energy Tyler used. I think, this whole album is supposed to be energetic, get you up, get you moving, and he really did convey that through the voice that he was using, the way he articulated certain words, how he overpronounced certain words. That made it much more energetic of a track, as well as the sample that he used from a Busta Rhymes song, which was actually an early 2000s song, which not only provided more energy and kind of glued the song together, but also just even further gave it that vintage 2000s rap type of feel. I'm putting this song in amazing. Next song we got is Sugar on My Tongue. This is a stark difference from the first song. Obviously, first track was a rapping performance for one, but it was also just more aggressive in general, had a more aggressive mood and vibe to it. This song, very laid back, it's melodic. Well, Tyler's straight up singing. He's using that high-pitched Igor type of voice, which is always cool, good to see. I love Igor, is one of the best albums of the 2010s, I think. So anytime he's going back to that, I will be very happy about it. Besides that, the beat. The beat kind of gives me like girly pop type of vibes. I could definitely see one of the biggest pop artists, current pop artists, singing on a beat like this, or literally this production exactly, which I think is pretty cool. In general, with this whole entire album and just this song, I love that Tyler was able to show us so many different sounds, whether it be rapping, whether it be singing, whether it be more electronic based, more laid back, more aggressive, whatever it might be, more West Coast themed, more early 2000s Timbaland themed. I could go on and on. He really gave us a lot of different types of music in this album, and he did it through such a concise piece of work too. This project is only, I think, 28 minutes long of runtime and 10 songs. So the fact that he was able to fit all those different sounds in effectively in such a tiny space, very impressive. For this song, I'm gonna go good. Don't like it quite as much as the first track. Next song, Sucka Free. This track features a very braggadocious chorus from Tyler, the Creator, where he's saying he's that guy. And it's very repetitive, but not in a way that makes it annoying, more so just in a way that makes the overall song more catchy, as well as making it more replayable, which is great. We're talking about vibes for all these songs. This song's very West Coast inspired and themed, not only with that hook, but also with the background vocals, or ad-libs, I guess you could call them, where Tyler's using a talk box, which obviously has been used in many West Coast bangers. Think of like California Love. And overall, I'm not sure on this one. I'm between the amazing or good tier. If there was a great tier, I'd probably put it in that, but right now, I'm going to go amazing. I might lower that a little later because I don't want to have too many songs in the amazing tier. Right now, though, I'm going amazing. I do love it. Now we have Momonym, and at this point in the list and in the track list, this song was a complete curveball to hear because, it's very reminiscent of that, like, early Tyler work. Now, granted, he's not being downright diabolical. He's not saying the most insane shit you've ever heard, but still, it's a very eerie sort of sound. You have those single synth notes changing, Tyler using a more raspy voice, the stuff he's saying, very menacing, even if it's not holding even a candle to his earlier stuff, but we don't got to talk about that. That's in the past. Still, though, the sound of this, definitely reminiscent of that early Tyler work, just a bit more matured now, I guess. It's a very short song. That's honestly the only thing that I'd say that's bad about this. Otherwise, it's great. I just wish there was more of it. But it is a good transition into the next song, which I guess is probably the main purpose it was supposed to serve. So I'd go good for this one. It was a good track. This takes us into Stop Playing With Me, which I love this beat so much. It perfectly fits this album. If you're trying to be energetic, more hyper, get up, start moving your body a little bit, dancing, yeah, this song's perfect for that. I love this production. I love it. Tyler, once again, brings the energy. Great rapping performance from him. I'd go amazing for this track. Next song is Ring, Ring, Ring. And I'd say it definitely has a bunch of, like, disco sounds to it, which I will say, this is, like, one of just those very biased takes for me. I feel like everyone has those. For some reason, I'm just not that much of a fan of disco music. It never clicked with me. Maybe it's just because I was not, anywhere near that generation in terms of me growing up. But there are people like my age that do like that type of music. So I don't know why it never clicked for me. It just hasn't. With that being said, I still was able to like this song. I think that high-pitched Igor-sounding Tyler singing voice fits perfectly with, those disco sounds and type beats. So I'd go good. Don't Tap the Glass / Tweakin'. That's the next song. And this is obviously an iconic, two-part, two-name song that Tyler has in many of his other albums. He didn't have it in Chromacopia, so this would be a return of that iconic type of song and song title. Now, I will say maybe it's just because I was very hyped for, a song with that type of name format, because usually those are great songs by Tyler, the Creator. I was a bit disappointed. I still think it's a good song, so I'll say that right now. I'm putting it in the good tier, but I feel like most of the time those types of songs for Tyler are in the amazing tier. I think comparing this track to the other ones, the other two-part, two-name songs, I'd say this is definitely on the lower end when you're ranking them. I'd say the first half of this song is much worse than the second half. I think the second half is great. I think it really picks up. The first half drags a little bit. I do got to give this song props for the Michael Jackson line, though. That made me smile a bit. It did. It was funny. We have 3 songs left. We're up to Don't You Worry Baby, which heavily features an artist by the name of Madison McFerrin, I think it was. I never heard of her before or listened to her before this song. I think she did a solid job. I don't think this might be the worst song on this album, in my opinion. It's not bad by any means. I just think this was a very good album. I'd go good still, in the good tier for sure, but I feel like it is less memorable compared to every other song on this album. My favorite part, I'd say, is when Tyler, the Creator, and the feature artist go back and forth trading lines, but that only happens for like a couple, I don't know, maybe like 20 seconds at the end of the song. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess the song just wasn't as memorable. Still good beat, still good performance by her, so good. Now we have I'll Take Care of You, and this is the song that ended up being my favorite on the entire album. I think so highly of this song. Not only do I think this is the best produced track on this entire album, I think this is one of Tyler's best produced tracks ever. This song has that feel like you're floating effect to it. But not only do I feel the first time I heard this song, I felt like I was that girl in Stranger Things who, floats like I don't know, but she floats for a bad reason. I be floating for a good reason, and I'm floating up into space, and then this beautiful, colorful butterfly comes and tickles my nose and then flies away. That's how this song made me feel. It was beautiful. This song was Tyler, the Creator, showing off that he's one of the best producers of any artist right now in music. It was amazing from start to finish to here. This was for sure my favorite song on the entire album. And honestly, it featured a lot of another artist. So it's kind of surprising that, that type of song did end up being my favorite on a Tyler, the Creator album, but it's just produced so well. So well. I mean, the synth work, the beat drop, the xylophones, I think it's a xylophone that comes in right before the beat drop, all these little details and sounds that just are so small but add to the song so much and make it such a special track. Even like the drums, that's actually a cool story. He sampled his own drums from one of his own songs on Cherry Bomb, which many consider, one of his most flawed, one of his worst, one of his messiest projects, influential for his career and for his growth, but still very flawed project. And he was able to take the literal drums from a song on that album and use it to make such a spectacular sounding piece of music. Finally, rounding out the 10-song album, we have Tell Me What It Is, which is a full-on singing performance from Tyler, the Creator, one of multiple on this project that contrasts nicely to the many rapping performances that are also on here. In this, he's very much mellowed out. It's not very dance heavy like a lot of the other songs are on this track list, but at this point in the track list for the past couple of songs, it got a bit more, calm, a bit more smooth, a bit more in your feels, I guess you could say. As the song starts to fade and end, you do have that Tyler, the Creator robot voice character come back in that was featured at the start of the first song, and that's always nice when albums do that, when they have some commonality between the first and last song. It kind of makes things come full circle and makes it feel like a cohesive album. And with that being said, back to the singing performance. I think it was a great singing performance from Tyler, for sure. It's very reminiscent of Igor. Not saying that this song or even this album is as good as Igor, but I will say it's definitely in that ballpark, for sure. I think it's in the conversation. I really enjoyed this album. I think this song was beautiful. I'm putting it in the amazing tier to round things off, and I'm really legitimately feeling like a 9 out of 10 on this album.